Do you ever look back at your childhood and you realize that you were actually always a little bit witchy? I don't know, maybe you talked to trees, or you had dreams that came true, or you just knew things without actually knowing how. Well, some people learn witchcraft, but for others, it's in their blood, it's in their bones, it's in their soul. So if you've ever felt like this path was calling you way before you even knew what it really was, you're actually not alone. So let's talk about 10 signs that you were born a shamanic witch. Hey wild ones, I am Emma Louise Dyson. You're watching The Wild and Untamed Way, where we dive into all things shamanic witchcraft, earth medicine, and living in harmony with the changing of the seasons and the wheel of the year. So if you like magic and spirit work and walking this kind of path of the wild witch, make sure that you do subscribe right now so that you don't miss a thing of what is coming up. I've got some amazing videos in the pipeline at the moment. So today we are talking about signs that you were born a shamanic witch, because for some of us this path isn't just something that we choose, it's something that has always been there. It is something that has been waiting for us to remember. So I wasn't like most little girls. I didn't really care about dolls. In fact, I only had one doll. It was gifted to me by my great aunt. And I spent most of the time trying to cut it open so I could see what was inside. Weird, I know. But I was interested. I wanted to know what was in it, right? I wasn't really fussed about, playing mom or anything like that. And instead of tea parties, I had pet woodlice, and I used to keep them in an old margarine tub under my bed. I'd find dead flies on the windowsill. It was like finding treasure. I would carefully pull off their wings to study them under my microscope. And the shimmering body that remained of the bluebottle fly, I actually kept in a silver locket like treasure. How freaking witchy is that? And I'd actually forgotten about that. Excuse me. Until I started creating some of the content for this video, which was amazing. But blue bottle flies' bodies, they are iridescent and beautiful, so why wouldn't they be kept as treasure? I also used to make grids and mandalas from tiny little leaves and flowers before I even knew what a mandala was. I brewed potions from rose petals and had my own little magical den, which was this secret space that I found after crawling through some hedgerows covered in cuts and scratches from the brambles, only to discover this clearing that felt like nobody else had ever been there before, and they probably hadn't. So then there was the dreams, and I had dreams that came true. And still, a very vivid dream that I really remember was I dreamed of this lollipop that could play music. And a few weeks later, I actually saw this lollipop advertised on TV. So it's these little things, these weird things, these unexplainable things, but all of them were signs. And so if you're listening to this and any of it resonates with you, if you felt like you've walked this path, and this path was calling you before you even knew that it had words, then you are not alone. So let's talk today about 10 signs that you were born a shamanic witch. So first of all, number one, you feel deeply connected to nature, not just as something that is beautiful, but something that is alive and aware. And this isn't just about kind of loving the outdoors, but it's about a knowing that the trees and the wind and the rivers all have a presence, all have a spirit. And maybe as a child, you talked to plants. Maybe as an adult you do. But you felt this real deep need to walk barefoot, to climb trees, or to sit for hours just watching the way the water moves. You've always sensed that nature isn't just a backdrop, but it is a living force that speaks and shifts and responds to you. And maybe deep down, you've actually always known that you belong more with the wild than living within structures of modern life. Number two, you've always been drawn to animals, especially as messengers or as spirit allies. So animals don't just exist to you, they communicate. You might have noticed animals acting differently around you, like birds flying unusually close to you, or wild animals making eye contact with you that feels like some unspoken message. You might have always felt this strange pull towards certain creatures, wolves, owls, snakes, or maybe crows, as if their energy was tied to yours. And maybe you've had moments where an animal has showed up in your life exactly when you needed guidance, leaving you with this unshakable feeling that they were there for a reason. Number three, you experience vivid dreams or visions, especially ones that feel like messages. So your dreams have never felt like ordinary dreams to you. You might have had reoccurring symbols, encounters with spirit guides, or premonitions that later came true, like my dream about the lollipop that played music. And maybe you remembered a place, or you dreamed of a place long before you actually visited it, or you woke up feeling with this really intense feeling that you needed to remember something that was really important. Sometimes it's not just the imagery, but it's also the feeling as well, as if your dreams are guiding you, revealing truths about the everyday world and beyond. I had a dream when my sister fell pregnant. I was living in the Bahamas. Well, I was working in the Bahamas, and I just couldn't shake this feeling off all day. Like there was something that I needed to reach out to her about. And so I sent her an email, and she said, I've just found out that I'm pregnant. You scare me with your spider sense. I don't know what I'm going to do. She was quite young. My nephew is 16 now. But it was that feeling, just knowing that there was something to do with her and I needed to contact her. Number four, you've always been fascinated by altered states, whether that is through drumming, whether that's through trance work, through breath work, plant medicine, even just getting lost in music. So shamanic witches are natural journeyers between worlds. Even before you knew what that meant, if you're like me and you didn't have the internet growing up, so many things are realizations as we become adults, right? So even before you knew what that meant, you may have had moments of falling into deep trances while you were dancing or staring at a fire or listening to repetitive sounds. Maybe as a child, you dissociated quite easily. You lost yourself in daydreams. You felt your awareness shift in ways that you couldn't explain. Maybe that's something that your teachers said, that you were a bit of a daydreamer. But the idea of crossing between the physical and the unseen has always felt natural to you, even if you didn't have the words for it initially. Number five, you just know things without knowing how. Your intuition has always been on point, even when you weren't even trying. Maybe you'd get a really bad feeling about someone before anything happened, or you just knew something was going to shift in your life. You might be able to pick up on people's emotions before they even say a word, or sense when someone is lying. I have the best lie radar ever, even if there's no logical reason to suspect anything. It's not something that you control. It's something that just happens. As a child, I always felt like I was wiser than most of the adults in my life, and I always felt, people said to me, you've got an old head on your shoulders. And so I always felt like, the adult in a lot of situations. Let me know if that resonates with you. So number six, You've always been a healer, the one person that people come to for guidance, for comfort, for deep conversations. Even as a child, you were the one that people opened up to, going back to what I've just said. Maybe friends would tell you their secrets, strangers would randomly spill their life stories to you. This happens to me all of the time. My partner's like, you just attract these people. Strangers tell me their life stories, and it's a blessing and a curse. But I also think it's a great honor to be able to hold space for people and for them to feel safe. So or potentially you'd sense when somebody was like struggling with something, even if they were acting fine. You might have instinctively known how to calm somebody's energy. Does that resonate with you? That really resonates with me. Or you had this ability to actually shift the atmosphere in a room without even trying. Hi. So there's something about you that makes people feel safe, that makes them feel understood, that makes them feel seen. And whether or not you've like stepped into that role fully yet, deep down, you just know that you are meant to be a guide, a healer, a way shower. Number 7, you feel deeply connected to the moon, to the elements, to the changing seasons. You don't just notice the shifts in nature, you feel them within you. The full moon might have you feeling quite restless or energized or deeply emotional. The seasons don't just change outside of you, they affect your energy, they change within you, your emotions, your dreams. You might have always felt really drawn to working with fire or water or earth or air, sensing their unique energies and just knowing instinctively when you need one more than the others. And you don't just observe the cycles of nature, you actually live them. Number 8, you've always felt different, like you see the world in a way that other people don't. So maybe as a kid, you felt like an outsider. You notice things, really subtle shifts in energy, the way that emotions linger in a space, or the tiny details that other people maybe overlooked. You've always been drawn to the mystical, the hidden things that exist just beyond the veil of everyday life. Maybe you were called too sensitive, too intense, too lost in your head, but deep down, you knew that you weren't imagining it. You were just seeing what other people couldn't. Number 9, you've had moments of spontaneous spiritual awakening, whether they have been gentle or whether they have been really freaking intense. So maybe there was a moment in your life where everything shifted, where you suddenly felt this kind of overwhelming connection to the universe, to nature, to something greater than yourself. Or maybe you've had strange, powerful experiences like intense deja vu, unexplained synchronicities, moments where reality seemed to bend and shift. And something inside you has always known that the world is more than what you can see. And sometimes you felt that really clearly, and it was really impossible for you to ignore. And finally, number 10, you've always felt that your path is something ancient, something you are remembering rather than learning. So you don't feel like you just studying witchcraft, you feel like you're reclaiming something that's been lost. Maybe certain symbols or traditions or spiritual practices actually just feel way too familiar to you, like you've done them before. You might be drawn to ancestral wisdom, past life memories, or ancient teachings, as if this knowledge has always been inside you, waiting to be awakened. Deep down, it's not new to you. It's actually something that your soul has always known. So They are 10 signs that you were born a shamanic witch. So, how many of these signs have resonated with you? Were there moments where you thought, oh my gosh, that is actually me? If so, please let me know. I would love to hear your experiences. So, do drop them in the comments below. Let me know which of these signs you felt in your own life. And if this path has been calling to you, I've got something really special to help you go even deeper into your magic. It is something I am working on at the moment for those of you who truly feel this in your bones and you really want to fully step into it. So stay tuned for that. Also, make sure that you do subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos, and hit that notification bell as well. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Stay wild, stay untamed, and stay cool, won't you? I'll see you in the next one.